Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. My name is Savannah Playford, the Director of Youth Ministry at Dixon United Methodist Church. Whenever you are watching this, welcome to today's daily devotion. How have you been feeling? I've been feeling good. I have been doing this new thing where I read different books of the Bible that I'm unfamiliar with, and I've come across the book of James. I was immediately thrown off. Most other books in the Bible begin slowly, right? With some stories, maybe an introduction from the author. Not with James. He gets right to the hard stuff right at the beginning. Today I want to share with you James 1 verses 2 through 4 that says this. Stand firm, my brothers and sisters. Think of the various tests that you encounter as occasions for joy. After all, you know that the testing of your faith produces endurance. Let this endurance complete its work so that you may be fully mature, complete, and lacking in nothing. Okay, did you guys catch that? In James verse 2, he is saying, find joy in your troubles. Joy? Are you serious? That's the opposite of how most of us want to react. You see, the original audience that James was writing to, they were facing poverty and persecution, which, if we're honest, is not as bad as things are now, but kind of similar, right? So let's think about it. All of these things that we are going through, including this coronavirus, James is saying we need to find some sort of joy. Okay, but why? Why do we need to find joy in the hard things? James tells us that too in verse 3. He says, after all, for that the testing of your faith produces endurance. You see, we need to find joy in all of these things because it forces us to trust God a little bit more. In the Bible, it shows that when people trust God, they ask for wisdom, and they often are given that wisdom and also are given a big reward, bigger than anybody can imagine. Isn't that something that we all should strive for? And see, at the end of this verse that I shared with you in verse 4, James says that this endurance is necessary so we can be fully mature and complete and lacking in nothing. I don't know about you, but I lack in a lot of things, especially in maturity. So if all we need to do is find joy in the suffering and the trials and tribulations that we're going through, it forces us to trust God a little bit more. And by doing that and trusting God over and over and over, it builds endurance. Kind of like an athlete would build endurance as they're going for a big run, right? Or you build endurance to different things as you go about your life. It's the same thing here. And I was very surprised that James was able to start off his verses with this. So we need to remember to give God credit for the good and the bad in our lives. Not that God wants us to be in bad situations, but during those bad times, we need to put our trust in Him and trust the process so we can get that endurance that we're looking for. So today, think of one thing that has brought you joy during these trying times. Just one. For me, I find joy in sharing all of these cool facts and things that I'm finding in the Bible with each of you. I also find joy in the wonderful rainy weather that we are having. So let me ask you again. Name one thing that you have found joy in during these times.